Welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name is James Salvatore, and today I have something special here for you all. This is the 2020 BMW M4 M Heritage Edition, one of just 750 cars produced for the entire world. And in today's video, I'm going to review it for you all, telling you some things you need to know about the car, as well as go for a drive and share my thoughts on it with you guys. But before we get into the video, be sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm because it really helps to promote the videos, and be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to be alerted when I post my future videos. On the channel, I do everything from new car reviews, new car comparisons, classics, exotics. So if that's your kind of thing, be sure to stick around. And with that said, cue the cinematic shots. Building off the M4 competition pack, the Heritage model brings something truly special to the table. With only 750 of these cars being built worldwide, this is the most rare car I've reviewed on my channel to date. What makes the Heritage model different from the other M4 cars begins on the outside with 3 exclusive colors. Now, the first of those is the color that we have on the car today, which is Laguna Seca Blue. Then you have Velvet Blue and Imola Red 2. And you may be saying to yourself, these are really cool colors, but why did they pick them? Well, I'm glad you asked. BMW picked these colors to pay homage to the original M Performance cars' colors, which you could still see clearly signified in the badge on every M Performance car. Pretty cool, right? I thought that was a nice touch. Another distinctive feature of the Heritage model is the gorgeous weight-saving carbon fiber roof panel that they've added, with the M flag painted right into the clear coat. All right, moving on to the interior, the first thing that you'll notice is the upgraded merino leather that's simply gorgeous. It's included throughout the whole cabin. They didn't cheap out with this. And you'll notice that you have Laguna Seca Blue contrast stitching to match the exterior of the car and the overall theme. And don't worry, BMW won't ever allow you to forget what you've purchased with your hard-earned money, because there is Heritage badging all over this car, most notably right on the dashboard, where you can see that you have one of 750 on the door sills and on the headrests. And if you've ever seen an M4 in person, the rest of the interior is pretty familiar for the most part. When it comes to tech, you have BMW's iDrive system, which is pretty nice. You know, it's touchscreen, the screen's a fair size, and it overall is nicely integrated into the dash. This is definitely one of BMW's older designs at this point, but it still looks good even in 2020, about 4 or 5 years later. You also have the ability to control the iDrive system via this 4-way rotary wheel here, and you could easily switch between functions of the infotainment system right from these convenient buttons located here. And when it comes to the gauge cluster, you still have the familiar part analog, part digital gauge cluster here. I really like this. You know, with everything going digital these days with the driver's information center, having nice traditional, easy to read, clear analog gauges is refreshing to me, especially on a performance car like this, because with a car like this, you just want to focus on the driving experience. You don't need all that extra information all up in your face, in my opinion. When it comes to performance, the M4 doesn't disappoint. Under the hood, you'll find the familiar 3-liter twin-turbo inline 6-cylinder that produces 444 horsepower, mated to a 6-speed manual transmission, which is a welcome, rare sight these days. You probably won't see this on the next generation, so get them while you can. You also get the electronically controlled M rear differential with the chrome-tipped sport exhaust system, as well as the upgraded brakes that you get with the competition pack already. But that's enough talk. Let's get this thing out on the road and go for a drive. Getting into the M4, the first thing that really strikes me is the driving position in this car. It's really nice. You look down over the hood. It's not really so much like you're sunken into the car, but visibility in this car is extremely good. You can see out of everywhere. You don't really need the nannies in this car. And a lot can't be said for other modern cars, which in my opinion really adds to the overall feeling of being connected to the road in this car. And when it comes to the manual transmission in this car, it's really nice and notchy. Gives you really nice feedback. The shifts are very short. and you have absolutely no confusion when trying to find the gears in this car. It's very precise, and the clutch is nice and light. It's not annoying, because, you know, sometimes when you're in traffic with some of these manual cars, it gets very annoying, but, you know, this isn't something that's going to tire you out if that's a concern. Compared to other cars I'm used to getting into today, this is way more engaging with the driver right away. I mean, you know, when you have paddle shifters versus a 6-speed manual, there really is no substitution for the manual. No, it is not as fast as the dual clutch transmission, but you don't care. You know, unless you're seriously tracking this thing and you're looking to get, you know, the highest performance numbers possible, you're gonna really enjoy your time more in the manual. And nothing's like the sound of a straight 6 from BMW. It just has a very distinct sound. And you hear those turbos spooling up, and it really just puts a smile on your face. And when you switch it into Sport Plus mode, the active sport exhaust instantly kicks into life. Just listen to those crackles and pops. I love it. Just listen to those downshifts. The auto rev matching in this car really makes it easy for drivers to just hop right into this car and learn it with ease. Oh wow, just listen to that. The sound of the exhaust in this car really makes the experience. And BMW makes just such a nice manual. Not only does it make it easy for people to just hop right in this car and go, like me per se, even though I know how to heel toe and everything, it just makes daily driving this car a lot easier when you don't have to think all the time about rev matching and whatnot, which makes this a really easy car to approach for people that haven't driven a manual transmission, perhaps. And that's an important thing. I mean, you get into other cars like, say, Corvettes and whatnot, and those manual transmissions require a bit more effort to learn how to use. Now, it's not too hard, but it's just, you know, more of a learning curve. Just listen to those downshifts, those nice auto blips. I love that. You get the crackling and the pop and all the theater from the exhaust. They've done a nice job on sound with this car. You really have to hear one in person. And if you were to throw an aftermarket exhaust on one of these, it would only enhance it that much more. But it's really good from factory, in my opinion. There's nothing like going through the gears on this thing. Just take a listen. Just take a listen to that. Brake feel is really good in this car. This car, as you drive it, you get a real nice sense of balance in it. You know, it has really nice turn in. The steering is very direct. Builds power nicely. The turbos build power in a very linear way. It's not, you know, like, oh, there's the boost. Very, very progressive. I like it. It makes for a very overall balanced driving experience. And when it comes to having just the right amount of power for day-to-day usability, it's there. This thing goes. I mean, this is the type of car that you could really take to the track and have an awesome time. But you could also daily drive it and it not be too much for back roads and whatnot. You could still open this thing up on a back road and have a good time. But when you want this car to be calm and you want to just cruise along, it's also very comfortable too. The seats offer a nice amount of bolstering and they're not too hard. You know, sometimes the seats in these cars are so hard that when you go through bumps, you know, it really gets, you really feel it through your body. But this car is nice. You know, it doesn't beat you up. It's the right balance between, you know, being comfortable for the road and offering you a good amount of feedback. With the next generation M4 coming out soon, most likely, seeing that this is an older design, most likely it won't be offered with the manual, and they'll probably maybe include some kind of hybrid system maybe, which makes me believe that this may be one of the last pure M driving experiences that we may see, you know, with the 6-speed manual and the straight 6, and just, oh, listen to the noise it makes. It sounds so good. I think BMW has done a very good job at making this car feel super controlled and super driver focused. I mean, you know, everything about this car screams driver's car. you know, from the way you engage with it, from the way it sounds, to the way it looks, I mean, everything about this feels like a very nicely put together package. This car feels special. It'll definitely feel like an occasion every time you pick up the key and go for a drive. And you know what, with sports cars like this, that's important. The sense of occasion and the sense of connection and the overall emotion is important. And the M4 does a good job at bringing out that emotion. Let's take a little listen to this thing. This engine pulls good. It's a lot of fun to have on the back road, and the brakes in this car are incredible. Not only do you get nice modulation with this brake pedal, you know, it's not too much bite at the top, but you know, you could just feel the power of these brakes. And with those wide, sticky tires, oh man, this thing handles like a dream. Wow, just listen to that. I mean, pitching it into a corner, building off. This thing has a lot of low-end torque. You know, I'm around like 2,500, 3,000 RPM, and this thing's got a lot of pull down low, which isn't always characteristic of some of these turbo cars, but you know, the torque comes in nice and low with this motor. Oh, just listen to that. Oh man, that'll put a smile right on your face, let me tell you. Overall, I recommend this car to the enthusiasts that don't want a car that does all the work for them. You know, you want to actually drive this car, you can. You know, it feels both modern and analog at the same time. You know, this manual transmission goes through the gears like butter. I mean, with the short throws and you know, the nice notchiness, you can find the gears really easily in this car, and the clutch feel in this car is just right. And with those crackles and bangs and pops, this car has just the right amount of theater to keep you entertained at all times and keep a smile on your face. And this is easily the car that you could take to the track and have a good time and then drive it home, no worries at all. I mean, this thing is, you know, super easy to deal with around town and on the road. You know, the clutch isn't annoying or too heavy. It's nice and light, and it gives you plenty of feedback. And for those of you that have never driven a manual transmission car, because at this point with some younger drivers that may be a concern, you know, this thing is super easy to learn and get used to. And with the auto rev matching and the hill start assist, you'll get used to this thing in no time at all. But it never forgets to remind you what it is. It's a true sports car at heart, and I think this car will go down as one of the great BMWs in history. And this may be one of your last chances to own a car like this, you know, with this pure driving experience. I highly recommend you go for one of these heritage models because, you know, as it ages, it'll definitely hold its value amongst collectors because they're going to want these cars in the future when you can't get something that offers this experience anymore. And if you're interested in this particular car, I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can check it out. Well, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to help me out by smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm and being sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on future uploads. But before we go, I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends down at BMW of Darien, Connecticut for making this review possible. They're an awesome, super friendly group of people, family owned here. So if you're in the market for a new BMW, be sure to check them out. I'm going to leave a link in my description below so you could do so. And with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.